And welcome back to 218 Top 50s. Yes, I know the name of the series changed. Yes, I know it was confusing before. Shut up. Anyway, so today we're on Canyon Run for our third video of this series, a track that I do really enjoy and that is currently on track list for those that want to try and that haven't learned it before those weekend matches. So we're just gonna jump right in and we'll see how this goes. Alright, and welcome back to our little lap analysis where I show you everything that you need to know about this track in order to get a proper time on it. So first things first, before we get started, I have to mention that this track, as much as I love it, is a complete nightmare when it comes to wheelie locks, when it comes to slip drifts, and just overall QM stuff. There are micro bounces everywhere, and half of getting this top 50 was just avoiding those and trying to keep my lane side as much as possible, which does not happen fully here, you will see, but it's not, it's just like QM stuff in general. It's unfortunately pretty unavoidable. But yeah, let's get started. So the first two turns are pretty usual. Here you want to get an empty wheelie. You'll want to keep to like counter drift quite a bit, which unfortunately means you'll release your empty a bit later. But getting an empty wheelie here saves a lot of time and allows you to take that whole turn much tighter and faster. Here for that little boost panel, if you're a bit too far on the sides, you might want to delay your wheelie just a little bit because it is possible to get a micro bounce that will make you hop over the boost panel, which has happened to me lap 3 on a run, for example, which is the most frustrating thing in the world, but hey, it happens. So yeah, usual, you just drift into the dirt here. You want to get as close to the wall as possible, obviously. You want to try and soft drift a bit so you don't get like a little bounce at the end there. I do get a little like a little micro bounce on this, but it doesn't lose that much time. I just stay tight. This pokey right here that you see, uh, he's not that bad. The only lap where he could matter is lap 3, where you will usually have to go a bit wider. He'll be like around here, so you'll have to go like a bit wide. So it doesn't lose you that much time, but it's good to remember. Don't try and ego the pokey lap 3. So yeah, so we just continue here. If you wheelie, it's depends on your angle. Once again, it's just QM stuff, but at certain angles, you can just stick the whole way through, and it gets you much lower air. Unfortunately, I get a micro bounce here. You just nosedive, tail dive at the end to not bounce over the boost panel that is right there. So yeah, just land on that. Here, beginners might not do this, but if you've played this map a bit, I'm sure you do this already. But for those that learn this track for the first time, once you hit the green there, you see that my funky's in a boost at the moment as like the 144 kmh. You need to hop over this. The reason why is simply because if you do not, you will be shot up into the air at crazy heights, and even getting a trick boost won't save you from the time that loses. So you just hop over the end there in order to land much quicker onto this platform right here and just drift tight. Uh, Once again, this little pokey right here, lap 1, it'll be extremely tight, so you'll have to go a bit wider, not by that much, but the other laps, it hasn't been an issue for me on the paces I got. On those pokies right here, right before Shroom Cut, here you trick, obviously. Those pokies, though, you'll need to adapt to them, because the fact that there's two and they're at such varying angles means you'll pretty much have to adapt to them. There's no working around it. There's no like safe play, especially since you're going like right through both of their tide lines in order to set up for the Shroomless. And speaking of which, here we arrive at the Shroomless. So the Shroomless has three methods. You have the Lucas method, which I do not agree with one bit. I haven't seen anyone else but him and some newbies learning from his video doing, and I feel like it's way slower, it's way less consistent from what I've tried. The other method is the hop method. That is way more consistent, that I do online, and that doesn't lose that much time compared to the last method, which is the method I use all 3 laps in this TT, which is the hop trick. You need a bit of timing in order to get it. It's nearer to the edge compared to the hop method, but the reason why it's so good is simply because of the distance it provides. often, more often than not, especially if I get like for example here I get a bad alignment. If I can keep the way I'm going, I'm just gonna go off here. So I drift trick onto the left side in order to save a bit of my run. Lap 3, um, I get a much better shroomless, which is why I do advise you to check it out. But the reason why the hop trick is so important is because in a hop method, you usually land around here, whereas in the hop trick, you can land like all the way up to here, and in the same amount of time. So it's just free distance gained over the hop method. So you see, even here, like I land further than I would have with a hop method. So here you just drift tight, no need to get an MT, not necessary, you just wheelie off. And here you can also get an alternate shroom cut, which I will show on screen, which you do not need to do anything specific, you just need to shroom and hold back and you'll make it. It technically skips the box, but there's a box right after, so it's not like it really matters. Here you just trick, then you drift tight, no need for an MT once again. Actually, if you force an MT, you're more likely to drift too tight and just end up here, which will mean the end of your run. So here you just trick. The uphill has a bit of weird physics. It's kind of similar to Color Wonderland, where the uphill just kind of eats your left momentum and makes you go straighter, which means that you can charge an empty way quicker. You see I release it really early in order to like go tight of that pokey. That pokey, depending on cycle, you'll need to adapt to it because it will pretty much always be in your line at some point. And so will this one. As you can see, like, this one is extremely tight, so I have to go a bit wider. And here for the last turn, you want to. Unfortunately, I am bad at chain drift, so I do not get it. But you'd want to chain drift over this in order to drift tighter into this line and just empty wheelie right at the end. So yeah, there you go. Here you just empty wheelie and you're finished with the lap. So the lap is 51.5, which will end up being my best lap. My other laps are around 51.8, 51.9. And for the record, if you want to try and get top 50, which is currently held by Jack Canada, I believe, yes it is, which is at 236.4, you'll need around 52.1, 52.1 laps lower in order to make it. So yeah, now I'll just show off my complete run. Hope you enjoy, and see you next time.
Said what's up, bitch, what's at it? Bitch, try to suck on my dick, on my type of seats, 40 rock, click the grip on my grip on my hollow point tip, your lip, because if it's so roll my way, bitch, move it, fuck it up, I got way too many bangs, pockets flooded up, but what I got in my veins, nigga stomach, fuck, they keep a strap up on my waist, it got a hollow tuck, like damn, move out my way, got new money, come on, bitch, that my paper, leave your sense, what I done, catch a case, new whip, no keys, electric race, like what the fuck, you bitch, you check, you fake, you off the grid, your face, the chaos, shoot your lens, my K2 dicks, I pray, two twins, cause I'm blowing nice, bitch, don't be talking nothing to my face, you wanna pull it, when you get sprayed, fuck that, got 2 D's, so got one for your bitch, and the other with a laser get tagged, like you go drift in the city, if I took it to your bitch, like a red dot, beam to your face, and my money, make money with your bands, go bitch, fuck around, I'ma pull up and I catch you with a case, like damn shit, what you click gon' do, when I slide too quick, what you blink gon' do, cause you pull up on my line, what your bitch gon' do, come stop my pussy, bitch, my wrist gon' do, like damn
Nice. What's your cycle? Okay, no, you're chill, you're chill. 244, 235.4. Okay, what's the ranking? What's the ranking of this? What's the ranking of this? Fuck. 235.4. 452. That's 30th. That's 30th worldwide. Let's
Nice.
fucking go! There we go, finally.